Welcome on this walkthrough how to set up Power BI for Dynamics 365 in a cloud environment. So what I have here is a cloud hosted environment, acceptance test environment tier 2, and the system does not have Power BI configuration yet, and we want to do this. I would like to call this video a walkthrough because all necessary steps have already been documented by Microsoft. And this is just a video what steps you have to do. So let's get started. The first thing we have to do is to register an app. So I go to the Azure Active Directory, and from the Azure Active Directory to app registration. I'm going to register a new app and call this D365 test. I'm going with accounts in my organization, and the type is web, so not a single page or native, but a web application. And the URL is the URL of the environment. So in our case, the URL of our test environment here. I'm going to copy this directly from the browser, and I need to add OAuth here and register this application. Now that the registration has been done, the next is to provide the necessary API, and we are going to add PowerBI Service here. You can find it under Microsoft Apps, PowerBI Service, delegated permissions, and we're going to allow read apps. We don't need capacity. Give access to content, dashboard, data. Data flow is not necessary. Dataset gateway is not necessary. Group, metadata, report. We don't need storage account. We don't need tenant, but user state. And provide admin consent here. So now our new registered application has all these rights to access Power BI. Next, we're going to add client secret. And I'm going to add here a new client secret. Call it secret, never expires. And now it is important to copy this secret value here. And now we are done with the client registration, and we can switch to Dynamics 365 and configure the Power BI integration. So back here at Dynamics, go to System Administration, and from System Administration to Power BI Configuration. Switch to Edit mode and enable Power BI. What we need here is application ID, and the application ID can be found here in the Active Directory, application ID. Copy it and paste it, and the application key. Is the value we have saved from this last step here. And save. Now we're going to refresh this site, and now we have this Power BI tile here, and we have to click on Get Started and authorize Power BI. And it says, okay, success. It means that the application that we have registered in the Azure Active Directory is now used by Dynamics 365 to access Power BI. We can close this here. And the Power BI registration tile is gone. In order to make use of the dashboards that come with Dynamics 365, we have to connect the Dynamics 365 instance with Lifecycle Services. And we go to System Administration and to the System Parameters. And here from the Help tab, it asks to connect to Lifecycle Services. And we want to allow this and connect it to LCS. And choose here Dynamics 365 with the corresponding ID. Now we can go to deploy the files via LCS. So back at System Administration, go to deploy Power BI files. Let's select all and deploy. This may take a few seconds, so please be patient until the reports have been deployed. The Power BI files have now been deployed, and we can test it by switching to another legal entity, in my case to a demo entity. And we won't see any data here because the data export to the RX data warehouse is not configured yet. But if we go to a workspace, for example, Financial Insights, we should see the Power BI dashboard loading. And as you can see, the dashboard, the Power BI dashboard is here. Of course, there is no data because we don't have configured anything yet. But in order to get data into this dashboard, we have to go to System Administration, to the module System Administration, and from System Administration to Entity Store. And here we have to configure the export of the data from the transactional database to the data warehouse. And we can do this by clicking Edit, and we want an automatic refresh, and we want to do it, let's say, every hour, and save. And after a while, we will see here the batch job running, exporting data from the transactional database to the data warehouse. And when we have data in the data warehouse, also Power BI dashboards will publish some useful information.